everybody, it's Brian Newman here, Director of Workers First. What an exciting time we've got this week with our new participation in the Gorrie Correctional Centre Enterprise Bargaining Agreement. We've been invited there by a number of our members and employees from Gorrie Correctional Centre who are working as prison officers under our trading name of the Australian Prison Officers Association to assist in the negotiation of their Enterprise Bargaining Agreement for 2017. There have been some interesting items in the log of claims that existed prior to our participation, and we were somewhat disappointed to hear that that log of claims was actually not designed or developed by the entire workforce there at Gorrie. As part of our efforts, rather than focus on the negatives of other representative bodies, what we're doing is we have dissected the existing Enterprise Bargaining Agreement, and we're seeking your feedback for those employees who are working at Gorrie as correctional officers, or as we like to say, prison officers, for your feedback and your input into what you would like to see in the 2017 EBA. Admittedly, negotiations have progressed somewhat prior to our participation, and if you've been watching anything in the national media, you will also know that there has been significant levels of industrial action, both initiated by the default representative, so that is the United Voice Union, which represents a number of prison officers there at Gorrie and elsewhere in Australia, in other states and territories, in both public and private sector prisons. Now, the APOA, the Australian Prison Officers Association, we're definitely growing in numbers. We do not have the dominant numbers there at Gorrie just yet. It's something we are hoping to change with the renewed vigour in negotiation of enterprise bargaining terms for prison officers there at that centre. So what we really need is your participation and your encouragement, I guess, to keep pushing forward and advancing the interests of prison officers there at the centre. And the way that we hope to do that is by having you participate in some online surveys, and simply by emailing or expressing your views via email, if you like, by sending an email to gethelp@workersfirst.com.au. That email will come straight through to myself personally. I'm actually taking charge of negotiation of this Enterprise Bargaining Agreement on behalf of our members and clients. And despite the rhetoric you might hear from the default representatives, we are certainly there to assist prison officers first and foremost, not interested in the political games and the argy-bargy. We don't necessarily support the strike action that's been undertaken. I don't think that's helpful to the situation. It's actually costing people money now, and it's becoming quite dire. And to the point, it's obviously quite frustrating for both sides of the table, for both the employees and for the employer, with some of the gamesmanship that is going on by those other entities. Whilst I couldn't outrightly say that we have an anti-strike policy, we certainly would only ever consider advising our members and clients about that kind of action as an absolute last resort, and I don't see that negotiations have got to that point at this stage. I don't think it's necessary for people to be taking further industrial action in that regard. Of course, there are many forms of industrial action, but we think that if everyone just takes a chill pill for a moment and has a good look at the existing Enterprise Bargaining Agreement and lines it up against a log of claims that has been, bizarrely developed without participation on any significant scale from affected employees. If we line that up with the existing Enterprise Bargaining Agreement with the log of claims, I think it's fair to say that there's really not much to be fighting about. The percentage increase for the wages in the last Enterprise Bargaining Agreement was 2.2%, which was agreed to by the parties, which included the United Voice Union and the employer. In this Enterprise Bargaining Agreement, we've been instructed to go to the table with an offer to advance the increase of 3%. Now, the employer has given us feedback this week that they will initially agree to the first year of 3%, and then there are additional increases which are not quite at 3% yet for the second and third year. Now, we're hoping that we can put forward a reasonable argument to articulate to the employer that that 3%, 3 by 3, is more than reasonable, and that there are some other productivity increases surrounding that as well. I'm happy to talk to the specifics of that, and I was hoping that in the next 7 to 14 days we actually might be in a position to go to a vote amongst the affected employees. And given the feedback that we've got from the employer so far, I'm moderately confident that we can achieve some happy resolution for employees there in the immediate to short term, rather than have this matter drag out any further, and of course that means costing people money. So we want to get this wrapped up as quickly as we can, but we need your help. So if you wouldn't mind, send us your feedback to gethelp@workersfirst.com.au. Alternatively, you might give me, Brian Newman, a call here in the office on 07 3807 3807. And if you're an affected employee in any other centre which is currently preparing for an enterprise bargaining negotiation, feel free to drop me a line also. If you're covered by the Fair Work Act, you can appoint any one of our advocates or employees here as an individual bargaining representative. It's your right, and don't let anyone tell you that it's not. We understand that there have been some misleading statements put out by the default representatives in the immediate past, which is telling people that you cannot be represented by anybody other than them. That's entirely untrue, and of course, proof's in the pudding. We're at the bargaining table at Arthur Gorrie Correctional Centre, and we hope to continue that representation well into the future. All right, folks. Brian Newman, Director of Workers First, and the Australian Prison Officers Association. Look forward to talking to you soon.